Isabella had always believed in forever. For 15 years, she had built a life with a man she thought she knew. A man who once held her hand at the altar, swore to protect her heart, and whispered dreams of growing old together. But now, at 42, she found herself standing alone in their once cozy kitchen, staring at a half-drunk cup of coffee. Her wedding ring already feeling foreign on her finger. It started with late-night work calls. Then the sudden change in passwords. The unfamiliar perfume on his shirt. She wanted to believe it was all in her head, that maybe the distance was just a phase, something they'd laugh about one day. But the truth had a cruel way of showing up. One rainy Thursday afternoon, she found the message. It wasn't just a flirtation. It was a full-blown relationship. A younger woman, passionate, carefree, everything Isabella had once been. Before motherhood, before sacrifice, before life slowly chipped away at her spark. The confrontation was quiet. There was no screaming, no dramatic fight. Just silence. The kind that screams louder than words. He didn't deny it. In fact, he almost looked relieved. "I'm sorry," he had said, eyes downcast. "But I haven't loved you in a long time." Those words shattered her more than the betrayal itself. Not just because of what he said, but because, deep down, she had known. She had felt it in the way he no longer looked at her. In the way he brushed past her in the hallway. In the cold space between them in bed. After he left, the house felt like a mausoleum, filled with memories that mocked her. The wedding photos, the souvenirs from family vacations, the notes on the fridge. Ghosts of a life she had fought to keep alive. Alone, she curled up on the couch, a blanket around her shoulders, tears soaking her pillow night after night. Her heart wasn't just broken. It was humiliated, exhausted, disillusioned. Worse, she felt invisible. To him. To herself. To the world. But deep within the ache, a tiny ember remained. Something she couldn't name yet. A quiet whisper. This is not the end. If this story is touching your heart so far, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep telling stories that matter. The days that followed felt like a blur. Isabella would wake up in the middle of the night, disoriented, still reaching for a man who was no longer there. Her friends tried to comfort her, offering the usual words. "You're strong. You'll get through this. He never deserved you." But none of it could fill the gaping hole in her chest. Every room in the house held a memory. His laughter echoing in the hallway, the scent of his cologne still lingering in the bathroom. She tried to escape it all by working late, scrolling endlessly through social media, pretending everything was fine. But grief is clever. It finds you in the quiet moments, in the silence of dawn, in the mirror, when your eyes look tired and unfamiliar. Weeks turned into months. Isabella stopped answering calls. She declined dinner invites. Even her own reflection felt like a stranger. One night, she stood in front of the bathroom mirror, tears dripping down her chin, and whispered, "What am I now if not his wife?" That moment became a turning point. Not because everything got better overnight, but because she finally realized the pain wasn't going away unless she did something about it. She couldn't wait for someone to save her. She had to save herself. She took off her wedding ring. She donated his clothes. She painted the bedroom walls a soft lavender, just because it felt peaceful. Then one Saturday morning she cut her hair, short and bold, The kind of haircut she'd always been afraid to try. And then she moved out. A small apartment in a quiet neighborhood. Just her. No shared history. No old ghosts. Isabella began therapy. She started journaling. She took walks in the early morning light, listening to the birds instead of her thoughts. She traveled to a coastal town she had dreamed of visiting but had always postponed for the right time. Slowly, she rediscovered herself. The way she laughed, the things she loved, the music that made her feel alive. She was no longer the woman who gave everything to a man who gave nothing back. She was becoming someone new, someone stronger. And just when she thought she had made peace with solitude, life surprised her. It was a rainy afternoon. She ducked into a small bookstore downtown to escape the storm. The smell of old pages and fresh coffee instantly calmed her nerves. She browsed aimlessly until she reached the poetry section. "Are you into Neruda too?" a voice asked softly. She turned and met the kindest eyes she had seen in years. Raphael, 32. Tall, gentle smile, and a calm presence that instantly made her feel safe. They talked about books, then music, then life. Time melted around them. He walked her home under an umbrella, both laughing like old friends. In the following weeks, they met again and again. Coffee dates that turned into dinners, conversations that stretched into the night. Raphael didn't push. He listened. He noticed things. The way her eyes lit up when she talked about the ocean, or how she hesitated when she laughed, as if afraid to feel joy again. She tried to keep him at arm's length. He was younger. He was kind. He was everything she no longer believed she deserved. But Raphael wasn't afraid of her scars. He saw her, all of her, and never once looked away. If this story has moved you, hit that subscribe button and tell us in the comments. What kind of love story would you like to see next? We'd love to bring your ideas to life. Isabella had spent so long protecting her heart that the idea of loving again felt terrifying. She avoided labels. She downplayed her feelings. She built invisible walls, emotional armor crafted from years of disappointment. And Raphael, he waited, patiently, kindly. He never forced her to define what they were. He just showed up day after day, with his calm presence and gentle words. But love has a way of slipping through the cracks. One evening, they sat on her tiny balcony watching the sunset. He took her hand and simply said, "You don't have to be ready. You just have to be willing." She broke down in tears. Not because she was sad, but because it had been so long since someone saw her. Not as broken, not as used, but as whole. That night, for the first time, she let herself fall asleep in someone's arms without fear. Months passed. Raphael never stopped showing up. He celebrated her wins, held her through setbacks. He met her friends, her fears, her past, and embraced it all. And slowly, Isabella began to believe in love again. Not the kind that hurts or burns out, but the kind that heals. One spring evening they walked by the ocean. The sun painted the sky in golds and pinks. Raphael turned to her, took her hand and said, "You once told me you lost everything. But to me, you are everything." With tears in her eyes she whispered, "I thought my story ended after him. I never imagined someone like you would be part of a new beginning." And then there, with waves crashing behind them and the wind carrying their laughter, he kissed her, not with urgency, not with possession, but with love, gentle, deep, and forever. If you're going through heartbreak, remember, sometimes the end isn't the end. It's just the start of a more beautiful chapter. And yes, you still deserve love, deep, healing, and true.